to London, and I worked at a music booking agency who organised tours for different artists. So I was working for an agent that was, you know, Adele. So I was working, because she wasn't as big then, she was just working on the music scene, and I was doing the booking of her tours and all the contracts and things like that. Mumford & Sons, other really cool artists, and it was really fun being able to be a part of their career in those early stages. And then I started doing events work because I kind of fell out a little bit with the music industry and didn't really want to go into that so quickly. And I started working in events with companies that would hire different event spaces. I was actually working on a little private island in Essex, which was weird and random, but it was really nice. And different big companies would hire it to put on their events. So I built experience in being able to manage those kind of things rather than just specifically music events, which was great because now I feel like I've got a much wider knowledge of different types of events and different things that you can do in them that relate to music. And then moved back up to Sheffield just before COVID to go back to the lead mill where I'd worked as a kid at school and loved it as I was growing up. And this time now I'm the head of programming there and I'm acting general manager as well, so looking after the whole venue, using all those skills that I've learned over all the years to now kind of be the boss, which is crazy to think that I started as 14, 15-year-old doing the box office, and now I'm helping everyone else to be able to do those kind of jobs, which is lovely, and I really, really enjoy it. And I do that alongside some other work as well because I really enjoy doing lots of different things and being able to get loads of experience in different areas. So I work within, it's called technical production, so you know when you see big concerts or festivals and they have the huge stages and they have loads of lights. So I organise the companies that will be putting those stages up, the PA audio companies, the lighting companies, for festivals like, do you know, Wireless Festival? And a few others as well. So it's really fun and really exciting, and having that experience helps me to bring loads of interesting new ideas to the lead mill as well. So it's really nice to have different things to work on because you're gaining ideas all the time. So that's what I'm doing at the moment. I do a few other things as well, like I still do corporate events for businesses that are based in London. Does anyone have any questions about the work? What I've just said in terms of like the roles themselves, and do you understand? So I've got like the lead mill in terms of the venue side of things, and that's looking after, there's 120 staff there. Well, there's different, venues are good for different reasons, I think. You know, like there's different exciting, fun things about venues. So I really like, I do really like the new Co-op Live Arena in Manchester. I really love it as a blank canvas kind of space. You know, it's a big, smart, cool space that you can do loads of things with. But then on the other hand, I love places that have got character and, you know, have got like interesting things. There's a place in Manchester called Albert Hall, which is lovely. I love places that have got interesting things to look at, or I like it when people do events in like weird and wonderful places as well. Random places, you know, like people might do an event in like an old castle, or I'm having to deal with, and I have been since I moved back to Sheffield, COVID. So we were shut during COVID and we weren't able to do any events. So that was horrible because instead I was having to write big funding applications and trying to get loads of money to help support, keep the staff on, because if you're a business and you've got a building that's got loads of costs, you know, like we're having to still pay staff, still pay heating, still pay for our rent, all of that stuff. But you know how I said about how I started by hiring it to put on my friends' bands from school? I think that part of the reason why I ended up working at the lead mill was because I was showing them what I could do and what I could offer to that business. I wasn't going, give me a job, give me a job, give me a job, sorry. But I was going, I can do this, I can do this, I can do this, and I was showing and doing it. Does that make sense? And I had a very clear, I'm enjoying this, I want to do this. So I think if you can really think about what it is that you like and enjoy, so that you can then express interest in that, and you can kind of like come up with those ideas, then you can help to get people to go, yeah, she's good, she needs a job because she knows what she wants, she knows what she's doing. Bit more work, but it's worth it in the long run. So different acts and different people have different ways of working. And we as a business, so as a venue, you split your income between, you've got money coming from your ticket sales and you've got money coming from your bar sales. So the money that's coming from your ticket sales, you've then got to acknowledge all of the costs that are associated with doing that event. So that'd be staffing costs, that's all of the bills and the stuff with running a building just like this, lights, water, all of that. And then the artist, so if it's a live music band, often they get paid a set fee. So you'll often get people saying, they have agents, that's like the jobs that I did earlier, and they say, we want £10,000 as a guarantee for this artist. And then you have to go and go, well, if you get paid £10,000 and these are all our costs, this leaves us with £1. And then they're like, okay, what are you offering then? And we'll go £5,000. And then you do like a bartering to kind of get to a place where you're not losing money, but sometimes if it's someone that you really, really want, you have to take the hit and lose money on the paying the artist and your ticket sales, because then you think to yourself, well, I've covered my costs because I've included that within the money that's coming in from ticket sales, and I'm going to make some money on the bar as well, and that's how you can like build your business in terms of having money there available to then try and do different things. But it's really hard because over time artists want more and more money, and they're getting more and more money, so you know you're kind of like stuck between a place of not wanting to pay people as much as they want, but then people going, all right, well I won't come to you, and then you don't get anything. So you're having to really like play it quite smart, which is hard. Comedians do it differently, where they do a split, so they don't get a guarantee. They just do a split of either 80% to the comedian or 70% to the comedian, and the rest goes to the venue, and then you just cover what you can out of that split. But it's really hard. Like there's not a huge amount of money in putting on those kind of events. It's really hard. Ticket prices have gone up and up and up and up. So when I was at school, you could pay £8 to go to a gig, and now most are £20 plus, and that's because of artists wanting bigger fees, wanting to be paid more for their time and for doing it, because they're making less money in other areas. So you know they're not making as much money in physical music sales because of streaming anymore, and all of those things. So they've got to make it back up another way, and they've done it through that. But it means that it's having an impact on venues. You know, we need to support these places, because if you don't take away those stages that people are performing on at that level in their career, you've not got a place for them to be able to build and grow. And they're on about how you need to feed back into them to be able to make sure that they exist for you. So it's really good that artists like that are supporting venues in that way. I think someone mentioned the Lebanon on Sunday Brunch on telly the other day about it as well, saying spaces like the Lebanon need all of the support that they can get, because you know you're part of this system that's helping people to get big. You know, like it's where the Arctic Monkeys played, it's where Amy Winehouse played, Adele played. Like the Lebanon's 900 capacity, so say they've sold out 900 tickets. That's 900 people who've potentially paid for their travel, because we get people travelling from all over. So they've paid for trains, but that has to be considered by the artist and their team. You know, like they've got to go, right, they don't want it to not happen, because they don't want to upset 900 people and you know make them upset at them for wasting their money and time, and look to reschedule it. Can it happen that same day? Is there anything we can do to help make sure that it can happen? Making sure that everyone in the team is able to do that as well, because you can't just have one person that's able to do that. You've got to have, and at the Lebanon there's 120 staff members, which is about 60, 70 bar staff, and then security team, engineers, you know, so they do all of the sound, lights, fixing things around the venue, stage managing, that's it. Yeah, there's so many different roles. And then in the office we've got the comedy team, so we've got a comedy promoter and assistants for them to help promote all of those events. Ticketing, someone who looks after enquiries. There's so many different roles that make up part of it, and everyone needs to be able to do their part when something like that happens. So if you are having to reschedule something, you've got to have the promotions person who's able to put together something to put out on social media. You've got to have the ticketing person who's able to then email all the ticket holders. You've got to have someone ready to answer phone calls. You've got to have security probably at the building just for people that are coming down who haven't got the message. You've got to have your engineers that then cancel the other members of staff that were going to come in for the event. You know, like it's a lot of jobs. So being more patient and being able to understand how hard it is for other people too, and be able to think, you know, I'm quite emotional sometimes. I can react in a way that's quite like stressy sometimes, and I'd like to be able to go, let's be calm, let's be zen about this will all sort itself out. Which is a hard thing, so being patient. But it's fun, but it is fun, you know, like it's like you said, you get to watch, if you like music, you get to watch music for free. I think that one of the most rewarding things is the people that you can work with, and being able to, when you have those tricky situations, being able to come together and being able to get through them together. And you're a part of making, I love being a part of making exciting things happen. You want to buy tickets to go and see your favourite artists and see people. Now I really like that feeling of knowing that I've helped to make that happen. So from like being a woman in the music industry from an artist perspective, and then there's being a woman in the music industry from the working behind the scenes perspective. But I actually think that both of those sides have similar experiences probably. So one thing that I do experience when I'm working within the tech side of things at festivals is that it's a lot of men in those roles. Like, you don't often work with other women, and that can be quite difficult from, you know, like you're not necessarily making like really strong friendships with people, so then you're not like working in easier environments and stuff, you know, so it can be difficult. Or some people do unfortunately think that if you're a woman you might not know as much in terms of technology. So you have to work a little bit harder to try and show people that that's not the case, and that's not true, and that's not fair. I do think that it's getting a lot better, and that people are being so supportive, and there's a lot of focus as well on making sure that there are plenty of women, even by doing this here now and me coming here and talking to you specifically. Like, this stuff didn't used to happen, like didn't when I was at school. No one came to tell me about what else you could do working in the music industry, or to, you know, like what you can do, what you might want to do, like how you might become an artist or whatever, you know, like having that actual spotlight on it and being able to show how it is a problem, but we want to make it better. It's, you know, it's a supportive feeling. It's good to know that there are people out there that are doing that. I think that's the same thing as well about the roles in the tech side of things. I do think there are certain things that have just happened where it's like women do these jobs and men do these jobs, and we're just trying to, like, over time break that down. And I don't feel now like there's a job that I can't do because I'm a woman. Like, I would never, and I don't think that there are many people left that would try and make you feel like that either. I don't think you should feel like there's anything that's not, you know, something that you should be allowed to do. That probably leads on a bit nicely to a bit of advice. But it sounds like, you know, you've said yourself some really good things. Like, I think one of the key things that I've learned from doing lots of different things is how important it's been to explore lots of different things. I've never had a mindset of, I want to do this one job. I've always been very like, let's explore this, let's try this, let me see where this goes. Because you meet people, you have experiences that are really great and that you can build relationships with those people long after. You know, I'm working with people that I worked with 15 years ago now on different things that we weren't working on 15 years ago. You know, like there's so many different things and ways that you can go about it. It's not a straight line of get a job and do one thing, or it doesn't have to be. It doesn't have to be like that. You can do it differently. And I've always kind of thought as well that there's not a job out there that you're better than. Like, no job is too small for you, because you need to be able to know how to do all of that work, and you want to be able to support other people, and you want to be able to support people and know what it is that their struggles are. But I do think when you're working in groups, and to do something all together, like putting on an event, there's not one role that's more important. Because if you take one of those roles out, it all falls apart. You know, if you take the stage manager out, you've not got somebody there to be able to help with the band. If you take the cleaners out, you can't open the building because you've got a horrible building that you don't want to let your customers in. You know, like every part and person is needed to be able to make it work and make it run smoothly. So no role should be treated any different, and you shouldn't feel like those roles aren't jobs that are good enough for you, because they absolutely are. You need to be able to know how to do those and know the worth of those jobs too. And you need to be able to accept challenges and be flexible and be able to go with the flow sometimes. You know, like I said about how we had COVID, and then we have had the landlord eviction, which has made it so hard because we don't know whether or not we're going to have our jobs in a few months, years, however long, you know, and you have to be really adaptable and able to kind of just go, okay, this is what it is, I'm going to carry on and do what I can and control what I can. Or you could look at it where it's not a backup plan, it's one of your plans. So it's like you're not pinning everything on one thing being the thing that makes you happy. And you never know, but doing plan B might lead to plan A in a different way, or plan C might then lead to plan B. You know, and like you've got to think of how it all links together. People link together in that way as well. You know, like people doing jobs in different areas. Sometimes someone needs someone and they'll go, oh, I work with so-and-so on this, maybe they could come and help me do this job. You know, like, I've not actually applied for a job in years, because you end up meeting people who then want to work with you, you know, and go, you can do this, can you come and help me on this? Yeah, I can, I'll come and do that for a bit. Yeah, I can do that. You know, and you end up in that kind of snowball effect of gathering more and more and more work and more opportunity and more people to be able to learn from and work with, and it keeps on going. So I think having being open and being excited about any opportunity is a great way to look at things. I did used to play, but I decided I didn't like performing. I didn't like playing to people or any of that stuff. So I stopped. But I wish I'd carried on a little bit. I think I was just open. I didn't know really what. I just tried things out, and if I liked them, I'd do more of it. Because I think it's really hard to know 100% what it is that you want to do when you're, you know, 14, 15, like, at that age. Like, and what you want to do then might not be what you want to do in 2 years or 3 years, you know. So I think being open and, like, just excited about the fact that there is lots of different things out there and there's lots of different ways. And the fact that, like we've said about, you know, like, you can, like, women can do anything too, so nothing's off limits. It's not as though you have to be like, oh, I can't do this, and I can't do that, and I can't do this, and I can't do that, because it's not true, like, you can. So having that, like, being able to have that mindset of, I could literally do that if I wanted to, and then you're just finding that route to be able to get to that point, you know, like, that's really exciting, because it makes you feel like there's just loads of. And I still feel like that now, like even with the level, and I've got work and I've got a job, but I still feel like, oh, 5 years time, this might lead to this thing, you know, like doing the tech stuff at the festivals. I might meet an artist that I really want to work with on just their shows and do like their arena shows with them and stuff like that, you know, like I might like to do that, you know, like I might enjoy that, I don't know yet, I've not done it. But it's nice to know that and building the paths that lead to that, and that option is there if you want to explore it, and you're in control of that. Like, it's up to you whether or not you go for it and find the ways to do it. It's not other people that are stopping you. And look at what's available to you, and like, I didn't want to go to university. I was set on working at the Leadenhall. I was happy there. I didn't want to leave. And then my A-level music teacher said, "Have you heard of it? Like, you might like it." And I hadn't, so I looked at it, and I loved the look of the course. It was a music, theatre and entertainment management course. But it wasn't, they were really focused on work, and they wanted to get people out into different jobs and work experience and just living in Liverpool and having like, work experience stuff, whilst having like classes about marketing and finance and, you know, that kind of stuff, which is all important stuff.
Can you give us a round of applause?